Chapter 1. Life is full of many unexpected twists and turns that everyone must learn to navigate. To introduce you to the values that Toltec inspires, Ruiz describes a young man who was captivated by the words of a guru. This young man had a strong urge to invite the guru to his home. Once the guru accepted his invitation, the man got to work and got the finest food, clothes, and wine to offer him. However, to his disappointment, the master guru did not show up. Instead, 3 strangers on 3 different occasions came knocking. And on each occasion, the young man fed and clothed them with the food, wine, and clothes he had prepared for the master. At the end of the day, the man realized that the propensity to give out what he had prepared for a special guest to total strangers was in fact an act of kindness that the master would have expected from an astute student like him. As such, the young man's disappointment disappeared, and he reveled in the fact that he had put words into actions. In essence, he had become a master since the words of the guru lived in him, and he had learned to act on them. Like this man in this parable, you too are a master. You have created different versions of yourself that define how you see and react to other people. Depending on the classification the people around us fall into, we project a specific personality or image that we have created to deal and communicate with such people. People only see the version of you that you want them to see. Keep reading to understand how you can become a better version of yourself, regardless of what is going on around you. As you move from one chapter to the next, you'll realize the effects that emotional hurt can have and how you can master your emotions. Chapter 2. Your mastery of anything depends on the choices you make. You determine your mastery, and in most cases, we master anger, envy, jealousy, and other negative behaviors, and they slowly become who we are. The same way you have mastered all these negatives, you have to master love. Still, many find it hard to accomplish this feat because of the hurt that they feel or the belief that it is impossible. The difficulty in the mastery of positive traits stems from the fact that we have taught ourselves to conform to the norm of our society. When you were a child, you were always laughing, you made friends easily, and you hardly bothered about the past or the future. But as you grew older, your parents and family, in the name of education, started to mold your mind to align to a particular standard. The punishment and reward system bends our will. It tells us how to dream and how to behave. And in the end, we grow to become a shell of the carefree and joyous child that we once were. Alas, what we are left with is fear. Fear of being ignored or rejected. And this manifests in different ways. It leads us to master those negative attributes, and we shield ourselves from the truth by believing in a lie. Fear is the enemy of growth. We believe in these lies to the extent that they become our truth. More so, we create excuses to back up these lies, and down the line, we slowly forget about our true nature. Chapter 3. The loss of innocence drives you to punish yourself for not being perfect. Perfection is not a term a child will naturally give meaning to. As a child, you were hardly aware of how the world perceived you or your place in your society. All that mattered was expending your energy on doing what you wanted to do, the things that were fun. However, your relationship with your parents, siblings, and other adults taught you something, that there are things the world expects from you. And so the idea of perfection slowly poisoned you as you started to align your thoughts and actions to beliefs that were imposed on you. As a person grows older, they lose their innocence and find it hard to do away with societal beliefs. This distorts a person's capacity to love, and what they have left is a poisoned mind that often revels in the standards set for you by others. The same mind-limiting framework governs the way you relate with others. If an individual had an abusive relationship with their parents, they might find themselves gravitating towards abusive relationships. The susceptibility to crave abuse is a result of a poisoned mind, as they have come to believe that being abused is the only way to get attention, or it is the only way to remember that they deserve to be punished for not being good enough. Relationships must have their foundation in true love and not in the need to get someone to validate your actions or make you happy. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Lao Tzu. In essence, someone that claims to love you should not consider the responsibility to make you feel good. If you cannot teach yourself to cherish your joy, you will discover that the people you depend on for your daily slice of happiness will one day let you down. Happiness comes from within, and you will discover that relationships do not last because we subject our happiness to the actions or inactions of the people we love. Chapter 4. The quality of any relationship depends on the attitude of all the parties involved. Many confuse love for fear because the narrative that everyone interacts majorly for companionship hides our true intent. Love does not depend on obligation or expectations. On the other hand, it is fear that drives you to demand that the people you claim to love to conform to a particular standard. You expect them to act in a certain way. You ask that they do something, so you too could have a reason to reciprocate. Also, love is respect. You should not go all out to control or change the people you love. Furthermore, love is always kind. In contrast, fear drives you to anger, which is basically a mask for fear itself. Love embraces responsibility. If you truly love someone, you will never shy away from the responsibilities that the relationship places on you. Likewise, love is unconditional. There is no reason to be ashamed of the people you claim to love. You do not judge them or look for justifications to tie your feelings to. We love the things we love for what they are. Robert Frost. You will only love a man or a woman that you don't feel the need to change or improve. Remember that love is unconditional. Therefore, you must identify the strengths and the flaws of your partner and accept them. Love thrives when two people with matching preferences and goals come together. Also, do not project your sadness on your spouse. Realize that everyone has his or her own baggage, and so carry yours. However, this kind of love is embedded in self-discovery. You cannot choose the right person when you don't know who you are and the things you cherish. You will also find it difficult to accept your spouse for who he or she is if you are yet to accept yourself. Chapter 5. To ensure a happy relationship, one has to go into it for only the right reasons. People get addicted to love because they go into relationships for all the wrong reasons. They know what loneliness and rejection mean. Therefore, as soon as they get a sniff of love, irrespective of who it is coming from or the person's intentions, they jump at it. This type of love is devoid of the analysis mentioned in the previous chapter, as the major motivator is the fear of being alone. This same fear will spur such people to become obsessive. They're scared of returning to their state of loneliness, and so they hold on for their dear life. Instead of loving out of fear, the author advised that you first take the step to love yourself. Self-love will help you cherish being alone, which will stop you from jumping into a relationship for the wrong reasons. Once you learn to love and respect yourself, it becomes difficult to settle for less. It becomes clear to you that relationships should emanate from a desire to want and not a survival instinct that propels neediness. However, in most cases, we tend to gravitate towards the latter. It is not like we are oblivious of our mistakes, but we hide from the truth. Though we have the capacity to redesign our beliefs, we often remain in the same state because the things that have held us captive have their roots in our mind. We see the consequences of our decisions, and we decide to wallow in our suffering, just because we think that we cannot do better, or because we don't want others to see our flaws. Regardless of how much suffering you've learned to withstand, you can heal, you can master your flaws and fears, and you can change your story. To become responsible for your happiness, you need to master your fears and subject your reactions and decisions to scrutiny. Mastery of transformation. This entails putting away the lies you have used to mask your pain, find the source, and take action to correct them. You have to become responsible for your happiness. You ought to change yourself before you attempt to change the world. Chapter 6. Healing is rooted in self-love and truth. It is impossible to heal without accepting who you are. Your definition of a perfect body has always been influenced by external factors. As a result, you often see yourself through the eyes of others. You ask them for validation, and their judgment determines how you rate your body. Whereas the only person you should seek validation from is you. You have to learn to love your body and accept it in its entirety. The relationship you have with yourself influences your confidence and how you relate with your spouse. If you believe that your body is not good enough, then you will likely fall into the temptation of thinking that you are not good enough for your partner. If you have the ability to love yourself first. Charles Bukowski. When you start loving yourself more, it starts getting easier to see the truth. Also, it becomes easy to block those lies that people keep telling you. They tell you that you are not capable, that you are a failure, that you will never achieve socially imposed goals. All these are lies, and the second step of healing is, as the author puts it, seeing through them. Likewise, you should uncover the truth to those lies you have always used to limit your growth. The next stage of healing is forgiveness. Now, your truth has changed the way you see things. You've come to know why you are hurting, and the person or people to blame. Whoever these people are, even if you are the source of your hurt, you owe it to yourself to forgive so you could become whole. Forgive yourself, forgive those who have wronged you, and also seek forgiveness from those you have wronged. Only then will you transcend the illusion that you had to believe about yourself and the world around you. You become wise not by acquiring knowledge, but by seeking the truth and living by it. Did you know, many years ago, the Toltec were referred to as people of knowledge. They were skilled men and women who came together to study the practices of the ancient ones. Conclusion. There are a few things that you have the power to change, and one of them is you. Only you can choose to see the truth when the world tries to feed you lies and illusions. You can master your body and your mind, define your goals, and you can stop letting other people set them for you. Your emotions are valid. The hurt, excitement, sadness, and everything in between are important. If you feel any emotion, you should take the time to analyze and address it as soon as possible. Your thoughts are also valuable, and you should never talk down on yourself. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes you might be met with disappointment, heartbreak, or even traumatic events. Remember that these happenings do not define you, and you still have the power to choose your truth. Others might try to hurt you, but you decide whether or not you'll allow them to get to you. So study yourself deeply and determine what works for you. Understand how you can break free of your past hurts and choose yourself in many situations always. If someone or somewhere keeps draining your energy, find a way to remove yourself from that situation. Try this. Write a list of things or memories that hurt you or those that still haunt you. Trace these memories or events to a source and work on forgiving the people that you believe caused them. Remember that you can be the source of your hurt. Forgive yourself, too.